when you need it, right? Okay.
Okay, we are recording live and ready to begin. Thank you.
Fine. Good morning, everybody. I'll call the meeting of the Safety and Security Committee meeting to order on Thursday, August the 8th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. Meyer, can we get a roll call, please?
Commissioner Simmons,
Present.
Commissioner Ison,
Take myself off mute. Present.
thank you. Commissioner Galladay, Commissioner Cox,
Here.
Commissioner Calvert, Commissioner Gladney,
Here.
Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Beach, Commissioner Moore,
Present.
Commissioner Jackson Jennings. You may proceed.
Fine, thank you. Thanks, everybody, for joining us this morning. Meyer, do you have a summary of the speaker cards that maybe have submitted?
Chair, there were no speaker cards submitted for today's meeting.
Very good, thank you. At this time, I need approval of the minutes of May 9th, 2024 Safety and Security Committee open meeting. Is there any corrections need to be made to these minutes? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve these minutes.
Motion to approve.
Have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, ayes have it. Next, second amendment to the agreement for the transit client engagement services, Chestnut Health. Mr. Scott, I think you have some comments.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Roach. Very simply, in 2020, in conjunction with the St. Clair County Transit District, a pilot was initiated in partnership with Chestnut Health Incorporated, based in Illinois, to provide teams of clinicians to work the MetroLink alignment and properties alongside of our security elements to enhance overall services to riders who may be in need of services that are separate or other than security or law enforcement engagement. We do see a heightened need on our system, or we did see a heightened need on our system, and we continue to do so. So we have two teams that are deployed here in Missouri. So this agreement specifically is for the Missouri side. The Illinois side, that agreement is held through the St. Clair County Transit District. It is one program administered by the same people. And that was important when they started the pilot in St. Clair County, to make sure that if this was going to be assimilated into our overall public safety model, that what we did in one section or on one section of the alignment was consistent with what we do in other areas as well. So very simply, this is a second amendment to our overall agreement to extend our services in Missouri through Chestnut Health for an additional 2 years. The current contract that we're in now was a 2-year contract valued at $790,000 over 2 years. This next contract would also be a 2-year extension or agreement valued at $811,453, so a 3% increase. If you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, I invited Mr. Jim Wallace from Chestnut Health. He is the Director of Business Services for Missouri. He has been a partner in helping to establish our program. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to let him just give a brief overview of the program and some of the accomplishments before there's any consideration.
Yeah, I'd appreciate, and I'm sure the other commissioners would like to hear how what I consider a successful program this has been.
Yep. So, Mr. Wallace.
Sure. Thank you, commissioners, for allowing me to be on the call today, and I see some familiar faces and some new faces. So we've been operating the last couple of years with two full teams, engaging writers. We've got great data. I've got a really pretty marketing sheet for our 2023 data, and in preparation for the call today, I got our 6 months of engagement data for the first 6 months of 2024. But what we continue to see is our biggest need is individuals with housing issues and unhoused, and referring them to the appropriate providers in the community. About 66 or 2/3 of the individuals we come in contact with have unhoused needs or in some way have issues with stable housing. The other third that we have contact with are substance use and mental health, and those go hand in hand. Working with our transit security staff and some of the bi-state individuals, one of the surprising things that I discovered over the last 2 years is I anticipated we'd be handing out Narcan, which in 2023, distributing Narcan, which is the solution for overdoses of heroin and opioid overdoses. We through our partnership with the Missouri Institute for Mental Health, we get that Narcan for free, and we handed out 1,228 individual doses of Narcan that people can take with them, people that are at risk in the community can have. But we're also usually on a monthly basis administering or assisting with individuals that have overdosed, either on the platforms or near the platforms. That was the surprising part for me. But in 2023, we had 6,735 engagements where our individuals, our peer staff, our clinicians would go up and make contact. So building those relationships. We connected 2,059 to services in the community. We've got kind of a laundry list of community partners that we're connecting them to. It's about a 31% engagement. It's all about relationship building, and our staff are there 40 hours a week and kind of building those first name relationships. 31% is pretty good, but it could be better. So I was really excited in 2024. We're about right at, in the first 6 months, the same number of engagements where we go up and make contact, 3,116. But our engagement rate of those individuals talking to us, being connected to services, short-term and long-term, is 49%. So it's really jumped up. And I think it's because not only in Missouri and Illinois that we're that stable, familiar face. And I believe that really is the goal of saving lives as we move forward. So that's kind of a really quick overview of what we're doing out there every day. My job is not necessarily be on the line every day connecting, but building awareness of this program. We have tours over the last couple of years. I've probably toured 150 to 200 individuals, from partner providers to Washington U and St. Louis U leadership to the Missouri Chamber. I think next week we have a tour with the Director of Health and Human Services, just building that awareness of all the great things and that are happening on the Metro Transit line, including our program and partnership. So again, that's my summary, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Chairman, I think it is fair to note that all of the work that's being done on either side of this river that divides the system is one cohesive program. So although we're specifically talking about the agreement for Missouri, all of this work being done is in concert. Anything that we would accomplish or that Chestnut would accomplish in Missouri with relationship building is extended to the Illinois side and vice versa. So I think that's important to consider.
Right. Jim, has there been any staffing issues that you've run into?
We are staffed now. We've had some staffing issues earlier in this year that have been again, that's a this position. If you ever have had the opportunity to kind of see it firsthand, or if you'd like to take a tour and see it firsthand, it's not for everybody. It's out on the line, and during the spring and fall, it's great weather, but in the winter and summer, it's a tough job, and it's the right people. But I think we've done a successful job over the last 6 months of really building that word of mouth and getting those staffing positions filled. But we did have challenges late last fall and in the spring, but we're now back fully staffed.
Good, good. And what hours are you primarily providing the service?
We're very flexible at the request of bi-state. So like a lot of our business in Missouri is the Civic Center line down by Enterprise Center. So we have staff that come on at 6 a.m. And work till about 2 or 3. And then we have another shift that may come in and work from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. As we grow, and that's another job of mine, figuring out other funding and diversified funding to build and grow our program. That's just the tip of the iceberg. We know the metro hours are longer than that. In Illinois, we have an 8 to 4 shift and then an evening shift as well. And looking at some creative ways to continue to grow that so there's not gaps, but certainly flexible to the needs of our funder. So when our funder says we need you to be here at a certain time, that's what our job is, to accommodate that.
Well, and before I open up for other questions, I just want to say that I've had quite a few comments myself on the program and how successful as far as helping some of the individuals that are repeat customers, as we say. So I want to thank you for that. Is there any other questions or comments from the other commissioners? Kevin, you have anything else?
I do not. I can tell you on the Missouri side, the Chestnut program has made significant impact for us at 2 specific locations, although we do float the teams. One is Civic Center and the other is North Hanley. Their assimilation into not only the security teams, but also our law enforcement teams greatly appreciate their work. I think it's been a good partnership. As I point out in the briefing paper, your security program needs to be diverse. There are a number of things that we deal with that do not rise to a security or law enforcement level, but these proactive measures taken by Chestnut help to mitigate potential criminal acts later.
Thank
I just
you.
want to say thank you for all the information, everybody, and I'm really glad that we do the program. So thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Cox. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve Kevin's recommendation.
So move.
Have a motion, have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, ayes have it. Thank you, Kevin and Jim, appreciate it. Moving on, the 2024 Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan. Andrew, you have some comments, I believe.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I'm here to seek your approval for our 2024 Public Transportation Agency Safety Plan, also known as the PTASP. As part of our commitment to continuous improvement of BSD, this document here, which we review and update annually, outlines all of our processes, policies, and procedures to ensure BSD's operational safety. It covers risk management issues, employee training, performance monitoring. Our 2024 update includes new language for our risk-based inspections, revised safety performance targets, and acknowledgement of upcoming new FTA performance targets. The plan has been conditionally approved by our bi-state safety oversight team and our Joint Labor Safety Committee, which includes senior union leaders from the ATU and IBEW. We've included the plan for your reference. Are there any questions?
So everybody had time to review that, and if so, now is the time to ask Andrew some questions. I'd just like to say that in the incidents that we do have take place, Mr. Scott and Andrew has always made sure that, as chairman of the Safety and Security Committee, that I'm kept up to date and informed, and I've been real happy with the way Andrew and his team respond to any of these incidents. So I would hope that everybody's had time to read this update and can support what they're recommending here. Do I have a motion to approve the plan that Andrew is presenting?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you, Andrew. Andrew, appreciate that. Mr. Roach, any unscheduled business?
I have none, just my brief comments. If you're ready for that, Chairman.
I'm ready if you're ready.
Okay. So first of all, I want to thank the committee for the approval of the Chestnut Health Program. This is literally a layered version that enhances security by taking some of the burden off our law enforcement professionals and moving in professionals in the mental health space. But one thing that's very important in this is to credit, and this is the power of partnership. St. Clair County started the very first pilot with Managing Director Sharkey and Herb Simmons, who never wants to take credit for anything, endorsed that as chair of the district at the time. And it meant that we were able to move forward in a very innovative way. Mr. Wallace and his staff deserve a lot of the credit there. This is literally an embedded team working on safety and security in a layered and comprehensive way. That takes some of the pressure off of our law enforcement aspects so that it is a full aspect of looking at our system that is complete health in safety and security. And in the end, we're talking about saving lives and keeping our system safe. So I want to give proper credit where credit is due, that these partnerships that we often talk about, they're not cliches. A lot of times they're just good ideas that come from our partners like St. Clair County. I want to credit Kevin and the Chestnut team with keeping the ball moving, but it needs to continue to be enhanced because, as we know, our region is changing, and so therefore our security is changing. The document that you also have in front of you that you just approved, the PTASP, that is essentially the primary conduit of our whole security plan. It is essentially our Bible, okay, that we move through and use as the operating document to keep our entire system safe. We, in the implementation of that PTASP, this organization is well ahead of a lot of our colleagues across the country. Andrew and his team have done a great job of moving it forward, but having it as a living document that then gets adjusted as we are moving forward and we're confronted with different safety and security things that come into an agency like ours. Obviously, you see also that it has to be presented to you directly in that accountability measure, and it has to be signed by me personally. We are essentially guaranteeing the operation of that PTASP as an overlying document associated with our operations. It's a really great document. I encourage you to take a look at it and refer to it. It is something that we should be changing over the many months and years to come. But I'm very confident about it and really appreciate the board's attention and endorsement of that. Safety and security continues to go very well. I will say that I do have some concerns. We were recently asked to work with St. Louis Public Schools associated with their having some transportation issues, and they will be moving some onto our regular transit system. Chuck Stewart and his team, along with Kevin Scott. Kevin attended an open meeting for SLPS the other day. Look, folks, we're very worried about this. Things are not well organized on the SLPS side, but please let me talk to you all as Safety and Security Subcommittee. these are the children of St. Louis. And so therefore, we're doing our best to try to keep their entry into the system as seamless and as safe as possible. The teams have met and have been down there. Mr. Scott personally attended that. I will not say that we are not concerned about our capacity issues and that partnership, but I will tell you that we're engaged and we're doing the best we can. So I wanted to simply bring that to your attention. Obviously, there's been some media attention on it. And what our frontline employees have dedicated themselves to, and our union partners at 788, and the drivers actually deserve credit. When Chuck has asked a lot of them to run some extra service to cover that, the response has been, well, these are our kids. These are St. Louis kids. We need to get them to school. So I've been very proud of our frontline employees' reaction to that, despite obviously an imperfect situation. But we are moving ahead on that. You may see some emails prior to the start of the school year, which is just in the next week, because I just wanted to take the opportunity that we were moving today, and I had so many of my commissioners here to let you know that we are actively engaged. I will be sending an email update about it, but I also want to express I am concerned about it. It's a troubling situation. Our system cannot completely engage as much as has been requested, but we're going to do our best to help out however we can. Thank you.
What is your main concern then? I'm confused.
Yes, sir. So the high school, so what SLPS has requested of us is to put the high school students onto our system and are giving them transit passes. The problem, Commissioner, is that at 2 o'clock, when, let's say, Vashon High School gets out and 250 students show up at a bus stop at 2:30, my system is not designed in advance to cover that load, right? So we need to add service in order to accommodate that kind of unplanned load. And also federal law prevents us from competing with the private sector school bus operators, right? There's a very important line between us and that individual circumstance. But of course, those things have kind of fallen apart. And so we're trying to help as best we can. Additionally, Commissioner, as you can just imagine, these are kids between the age of 15 and 18, right? And 50 of them at a time on any bus line can be a security issue, right? Simply in normal behaviors and so on. So I am concerned and have engaged Mr. Scott and his crew at being sure that we're also attempting to provide the best security that we can. So I just wanted to be upfront with you, Commissioner, and tell everybody I'm a little worried about this. It's not as planned as well as I would have liked it to be, but I do not want the children who are just trying to get an education and get to school to be the victims here. Victim is probably not the right word. Sorry,
I
go
just
ahead.
if Kevin and his team, can maybe overstaff a little bit during that time and, be on top of everything. I know it's a complicated situation, but it seems to me that it's also a time that we can shine, that we can come out on top and looking really good. We just have to step up our game. And I think this is a chance for Bi-State to really be a winner in this. That's just my opinion.
Great point. We will do what we can. I just am, it's the numbers, Commissioner, that I'm concerned about. Also, we, as you've seen, our employment numbers have really markedly improved, mostly having to do with Mr. Stewart's great work and teams on the recruiting on Saturday. But we've only been able to get up to level. So now if we were to add service, the one thing that I really can't do is I can't, for instance, add extra service for those school lines at the expense of another line that someone's going to a factory job at, right? Or going to a grocery store. And so I need to be very careful not to miss service in another aspect of our service. I mean, remember, we're talking about tens of thousands of rides a day. And although our system is somewhat fluid, it is not unlimited. And I totally agree with you. And one of the reasons why I just wanted to give you guys a warning, but there's several factors in this one that we can't control. And I'm concerned about that. Mr. Scott actually was at the meeting. I would ask him to maybe share the tenor of that from a first-person standpoint. Kevin, could you comment on it?
Sure. So, thank you, by the way. So the majority of the parents, this was a meeting that was well attended. The majority of the parents appeared to be middle school or elementary school students, which that would not be impacted by our system. Only high school students would ride the system. So there was, I probably overestimated the amount of attention we would get. We really did not get that much attention. We did a general overview of our product. Done by Jessica Gershman from our planning department. She did a fabulous job. And then we had the opportunity to go in breakout rooms. So Metro had its own breakout room for any of the parents that would have been interested to hear about our modes of transportation, our security efforts, things like that. We had very little engagement or participation. As a matter of fact, after the General Assembly, which didn't last that long, the majority of the parents left. I will tell you from a security standpoint, one of the things that I'm driving, and we're still working through our agreement with the school district, is we're not doing this for you. We're a partner in this process. And the enhanced security needed to support our already strapped security teams is going to have to be carried by in partnership with the school district themselves and their security teams. So it's important to work with them, to help them to be a partner, but we're going to be insistent from a security standpoint that their security teams help to provide the special attention needed on these routes or these buses.
One question here, Toby, or just concern, and sorry, I was out of the room for a minute, so I don't know if you already addressed this, but I agree we should be doing this. This is a kind of an emergency situation, and we need to be good partners and help. I would obviously, like you said, keep an eye on just the operational aspects. The other thing I would wonder too is budget and financial impacts on this, and not that it stops us from doing it. It should not, but I think when we go back to budget requests, that sort of thing later on, if there is a significant additional expense from this, sorry, you might hear my dog drinking water in the background. If there is a significant additional expense from this, I think that's something we should be mindful of when we go back to partners, not stopping us from doing it, but making sure that we've got a budget to keep as well.
I agree.
Yes, sir, that's right. So to address that, we have drafted an MOU for SLPS where we would charge them if we were able to put extra service. So one of the ideas that the team wants to do is monitor the passenger load, and for instance, if it made sense on, let's just use the Kings Highway as an example, and the high school along Kings Highway right there at Arsenal, I'm blanking on the name right now, it used to be called Southwest, but if at say 220, we needed to add an extra bus into that. So on an in-between route, in order to take that load, the MOU would provide for provisions for SLPS to pay for that bus, okay? And that simply has to happen. And I would do the same thing if it were a St. Louis County district, as a St. Clair County district. We've done this before many years ago with East St. Louis School District when we needed to. So that's absolutely right. We have put that MOU together, and it's over there. It is not executed yet. And one of the reasons why I wanted to give you all the warning is I'm going to need it. I'm hoping to have that done before the start of school. And certainly in the executive positions of the chairs, I will be notifying you if I have an acceptable agreement in front of me, and we'll run it through certainly the chair, vice chair, at a minimum. And then bring it to the full committee on an emergency basis at our next meeting. So we do have those provisions in place. We're pushing for them, Chairman Gladney, but I don't have it executed yet, and Chuck is negotiating. I've asked Greg to jump in to be sure to review those documents to be sure that they're in line legally, but we will be advancing that as well.
Yeah, Toby, just a question on that agreement. In terms of security, would it be indicated in that agreement, and do we have some type of expectations of what that security might look like?
Well, we would like and have asked for some of the school resource officers to accompany some of the kids so that there was authority connected with SLPS with that student body. Because should there be the normal high school raucous behavior, I sure would like security that's connected with the school so that they would have discipline that they can hand out that my team cannot. So we have made that request. Chuck has made that request specifically at meetings. One of Kevin's team, Blessing Agobi, has attended some of those meetings. So so Commissioner Eisman, I think that we have asked, but the specific expectation, I'm a little concerned about. I wish I could say they've committed. I think we're asking, and we're going to try to get as much as we can. And one of the key components is, again, if all those students on our system, my security team can only do so much. If it's a school resource officer, then they can. And there's kids who are acting out, it's much easier for them to apply discipline to these young kids. So we've asked for that combination. Is that a fair summary, Mr. Scott?
Yes, sir, it is. Look, we do not have the capacity to put a security officer on every bus or a police officer. So we have two main affected lines, Kings Highway and Grand. Our transit security team mobilely patrols our bus service areas, just like we would in law enforcement in a sector or beat. So we will pay special attention to those lines themselves. But the real concern really isn't in the morning when the kids go to school, because they're coming from many different directions. The concern for me is in the afternoon when they're assembling all together at certain locations. So we've talked extensively with the school district about they have a fairly vast security element, internal security element. They're going to have to step up and provide that extra visibility for us. We are a public transportation company. We cannot completely deviate from our normal modes of security operations. It would impact the other areas of the system. So I don't have a lot of flexibility or capacity. So they're going to have to supplement that. And we just need to make sure that they agree to that.
Any other comments on this issue?
I have one, Herman, and Kevin just sort of spoke to it, as did Dr. Isom. It sounds as if the district is sort of saying, we're passing our children off to you at the time they arrive on your platform without the added responsibility of presence that they bring to try to maintain order. And certainly, if that's what the district is suggesting by their actions, and can you imagine what the parents are expecting? The parents then are expecting that my state is taking care of my child while that child is in their presence, and the need for you, Kevin Talby, to almost demand that the district has presence. And, you know, as much as so much is public about the district now, unfortunately, but there should be some conveyance that you're operating as a transportation company, not as a security element for all of the children. Not that you're trying to step away from some responsibility, but it has to be known in a broader context than just those district representatives that you're talking to, because parents now will have that expectation, and you will know absolutely if, God forbid, anything occurs.
But I concur 100% with your concern and the need to add these elements within the contract. So literally after this meeting, I will be meeting with Chuck Stewart to ask about how SLPS MOU is going. I've asked Greg to step in to try to help move the document forward, and I agree 100% with the commissioner's concerns and comments. One of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up. I don't have the solution yet because they haven't committed, but you're absolutely right. We will push for those, and they are embedded into those documents, and we will do our best. But I sure don't want you to be surprised. And I want to be very honest with you that we are concerned about it. My team has met with people and meet with folks very regularly. They know with teams that are well organized and have a professional approach. And they have been worried about our colleagues' lack of organization, okay? And we don't want to be blamed, and thank you, Commissioner Moore, you're absolutely right. I mean, look, these are folks' kids, and they care about their 16-year-old boy or girl who are going to be on our system. And when we had the public meeting, my poor staff got 100 texts from me because I was very concerned that we were going to get cornered by 100 angry parents who have every right to be angry, in my opinion. But they don't have the right to be angry at us. Now, on the other hand, I'm trying to recognize our role as a deliverer of public policy and public transportation, and that these are the citizens of our city, and we want to do our best to be helping. And so I'm trying to push for those aspects, and I will commit to those. These are great comments, and I'll ask the team to be sure to put those within the agreement, and we'll nudge as best we can. But I just wanted to be fair. A really good discussion and helpful to me. Thank you for the comments, and we will move forward.
Okay, I got a few questions, Toby. Has the school district reached out to the private sector to try to fill their void? Do you know?
Yes, so there are, and not just Metro was at the transportation meeting, public meeting the other night, but I believe there are roughly 19 other operators. Now, a lot of those were based in the underneath high school. They were in the middle school and type area. But it was concerning. Let's say that. And I don't know if you saw any of the media coverage, but obviously when you have all of those operators show up, the one that's most noticeable was us. I had, I think, 10 staff members there. Obviously, we have a pretty significant presence and so on. So we did end up, Commissioner Simmons, getting a fair, that we were the one who were noticed who stepped up because all of these other operators are somewhat unknown quantities. Now, maybe on August the 19th, they'll step up and it'll work great. I hope it does, okay? But but the SLPS has significant contracts with other private operators, but it does not have the veracity of a major contract with an experienced school bus operation. That is not in place. So I am concerned about it.
Well, and I can, I appreciate that because I think as of now, everybody, and I apologize, I have not seen a lot of the news media because of commitments to my day job, but I think that we can't be the fix-all either. I agree with Commissioner Cox that it's a time that we should step up if we can, but there comes the cost of liability with this. And I'm glad to hear you got Greg going to be looking at all this stuff because I think the school district, one of the things that I will insist on is there has to be some security issues on their part because not only are we assuming that liability, as Kevin said, our security is, we hear it's taxed all the time. And to ask them to do more is that we're to the point of breaking, I think. So I would just ask that you keep, and I know you will, keep everybody updated on this as we move forward. Is there any other questions on this issue to Mr. Roach or Mr. Scott? Hearing none. The only thing, Kevin, could you give a little brief update to the commissioners that weren't able to make the MOUs signing over at the Fairview Heights platform?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So in an effort to add more law enforcement presence on our system, in partnership with the St. Clair County Transit District and with their help, we built municipal relationships along the alignment with 4 municipalities: Fairview Heights, Belleville, Swansea, Shiloh. In addition to that, we also entered into a new MOU with the Sheriff's Department. This obviously attracting law enforcement to our system beyond our full-time task force. It's a competitive market. There is a need for off-duty or part-time law enforcement presence in a lot of different areas and a lot of different venues. And so the idea is to try to provide as much of a competitive environment as far as pay, where we could attract some interest. And so we were able to, with the attorneys, with the transit district, build MOUs that would allow for those police agencies to allow their officers to work overtime on properties within their jurisdictions along our alignment. So for instance, Belleville could sign up in a voluntary basis for added overtime at Belleville and at College, and that, Fairview Heights and Swansea and Shiloh would do the same thing. So we're making every effort to try to add as much law enforcement presence to complement our overall security force. I think what needs to be said here is that the security elements of Metro, they really are the foundation of the security program here and hold the alignment on a daily basis. They deal with, probably 85–90% of any engagements that we need, not only from a security standpoint, but from a customer engagement. But that added law enforcement presence on the system is hugely helpful and is comforting to the ridership as well, to be able to quickly react to circumstances that would rise to a law enforcement level. We don't, those are few and far between, but they do happen. So this is the first time that had agreements with or included municipal police in our overall security structure. Thus far, it's going very well. There seems to be a lot of interest. Now, granted, it's voluntary. The downside to secondary police programs is you can't, from an administrative standpoint, identify how many people you'll get at any given time. So those systematic deployments that we require certainly have to be supplemented by security. But this is a way for us to add additional law enforcement to the system to complement the full-time MetroLink law enforcement detail, which in St. Clair County is administered by the Sheriff's Department. We think it's going very well, and we think it's a model that we could expand going forward.
Well, and just to elaborate on it a little bit more, this was a long process, and I want to give thanks and kudos to Kevin and to Vern Summers. I mean, it was meeting after meeting and draft after draft. And Kevin, how long do you think this whole process took, basically?
Well, I had a full head of hair when we started.
Yeah. But I think it's definitely we've answered the call of what our ridership has been asking for, at least on a start basis. And as Kevin said, it could be a pilot that goes across the system. And I'm just thankful for all the help that him and Vern put together with this, with the support of Mr. Roach and the other members of the Safety Security Committee, because it's after all, we want that system to be safe, and I think this is a good way to start it. So. Thanks, Kevin, and let Vern know I appreciate all the hard work you guys put into that. Any other comments on anything?
Can I
Yes.
jump in just with one quick question? Who covers the cost of the overtime for the officers?
Transit District. Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah, so these agreements are actually, these agreements are actually between the transit district and those government entities.
The St. Clair County Transit District.
Yes, ma'am, the county transit district. By state, my team in conjunction with the Metro Train or the MetroLink detail and those specific chiefs coordinate those deployments. But it's being funded and made possible by the support of the transit district. There was no way to get this done without their help.
It's great. I just like it to be known that, St. Clair County is a real partner in this process. And, we give a lot because we give a lot. And we really want to see success here. And nobody can speak to it like Herb can, because he's involved in all aspects and has really been pushing. But, those revenues are there to provide support, and they're willingly coming through at very high levels. So I appreciate the transit district's willingness to step up in this manner.
Well, I think it's worth noting also is the Sheriff's Department personnel has the scheduling obligation with the Vern assisting. Am I right, Kevin? It all gets approved through Vern, and as far as the signups and making sure that we're trying to fill as many holes as possible.
Yeah, that really is key, is the relationships between the law enforcement security leadership and those specific police chiefs. All of those police chiefs and the sheriff had to, sign off on this. Those MOUs are constructed to address concerns that came up during those discussions relative to how many hours an all law enforcement officer could work off duty. We specifically mandated in the MOUs that they had to be in full police uniform. When vehicles are available, they would be able to use those vehicles at our properties. Their focus are the parking lots, the bus turnarounds, and the MetroLink platforms, with understanding that the MetroLink task force handles all the criminal incidents, and they have jurisdiction over MetroLink itself on the train. So we got to a point where all the chiefs agreed. They all had different perspectives and things that they wanted to see. But from a uniformity standpoint, everything worked out well. So the scheduling of those, again, with a program like this, there's really no downfall other than you don't know, because you have an influx of voluntary participation. And so we highlight on our schedule on a daily basis when and where we think we need extra law enforcement support, and then we work through that process to try to fill that. That's where the oversight of the sheriff's department and the security leadership here come into play.
Well, and I think the whole concept of this was to free up our task force deputies over here to ride the trains more frequently, and then to count on the municipal MOUs to secure those parking lots to make the customers feel safer, and the platform. So before this, the deputies were doing both. That's not to say the deputies still won't be doing that to a certain degree, but hopefully with the added MOUs, the riders will see more of the presence of our deputies on the trains, making them feel more comfortable.
You're absolutely correct.
Very good. Thank you. Any questions for Kevin on that? Okay, hearing none, Meyer, will you give us the dates for some upcoming meetings?
Yes, Chair, the next Operations Committee meeting, as well as the next Audit, Finance, and Administration Committee meetings will be held on Friday, August 16th, beginning at 8:30 a.m. And the next Board of Commissioners meeting will be held on Friday, September 20th, also starting at 8:30 a.m.
Very good. Thank you, Toby. I assume there's no need for an executive session. Am I correct?
Is correct.
Very good. Thank you. We took enough time, everybody's time this morning, but I appreciate everybody. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. A motion and a second. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oppose, ayes have it. Everybody have a good day.
Thank
You too.